Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. And this week I'm going to show you some more projects made with the Apron of Love stamp set. It's a new stamp set that is in the Occasions catalog. It is a bundle, so it's available at a 10% discount, and these are all the stamps. You have some great sentiments here: get well soon, thinking of you, best friend ever, best dad ever, best mom ever, thanks for being there in a pinch, made with love. And then the images are just fabulous. You have a baking mitt, an oven mitt that says baked with love. You have this apron that you can put together, and here are the strings for the apron. You have a nice curly lacy background for the apron pocket. You have these utensils, barbecue utensils, so you can use it as a masculine card. And then you also have a pocket and little hearts, scissors. I love baking, I love stamping, I love barbecue, made with love. It is just so phenomenal, and there are so many things you can do with it. The coordinating die sets are equally as great. You have a die for almost everything that's there. You have scissors, the mitt, 2 hearts, some flowers, a rolling pin, the background of the pocket, the front of the pocket, the oval pocket, then the square pocket, a bow. It's just the utensils. It's just so phenomenal. This set happens to be February's stamp of the month. Now, the way that works, it's my personal stamp of the month. If you buy this bundle from me on my website, you will receive free product to make 3 cards using this stamp set. And I will, in the bottom, the description, I will put the link to the video that talked more about the Stamp of the Month Club. But it's a short recap. These are the 3 cards that you'll get product for: this great masculine one, this feminine one, and then this just great. I love this one. This is a note size one. So for more details on the Stamp of the Month, certainly check the link for the video below. But for today, I'm going to be making my January thank you cards for my customers. So if you ordered from me in January, you'll be getting one of these in the mail in just a couple days. I do send thank you cards to my customers every month, and the way I make them, aside from this one, it's usually a generic thank you, and on the inside I write my note on a post-it note, because that way my customers can use the cards thank you cards that I give them. They can pass them forward when they need one. But for today, because I love this stamp set, I decided to make it stamping specific, and I just think it's so cute. So what we need for this is some crumb cake cardstock, and this is note card size. This is 7 by 5, scored at 3.5. Then I have a piece of basic black for the background, and that is 3 3/8 by 4 7/8. Then I have a piece of designer series paper that has crumb cake in it. This is from an old set. It's a Valentine's set, actually. It was called Love Blossoms, and this is cut at 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then other than that, for paper, all we need is some scrap black paper. We do need some Versamark ink, some white embossing powder, and actually for cards we do need a tiny scrap of silver foil. You know how I'm always telling you to save those scraps. This is when a little scrap would come in handy, because we are going to cut out those scissors. And then we need some black ribbon. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this Stampin' Up that's going on my pocket. And that is a stamp set that was available for demonstrators only, I believe. It was called the Best Decision Ever. And this is what I usually put on my thank you cards. This is a stamp that has thanks for your order, thanks for hosting, it was great stamping with you. And one of the stamps is this Stampin' Up logo. And on the bottom of it, it says Inspire, Create, and Share, which is Stampin' Up's logo. So because the writing on that is so small, I want to ensure a nice, crisp emboss. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I rub my embossing buddy where I'm going to stamp. So there's no static there at all. And because it's photopolymer, I'm bringing in my Pierce mat, and I'm also going to bring in a piece of white scrap paper. I'm going to stamp up my ink, my stamp with Versamark ink, and I'm going to just stamp it down here because I'm going to die cut it out anyway. I'm going to sprinkle that with some white embossing powder. And just run that right over that corner again. Perfect. And now I'm going to heat that up. I'll bring in my heat gun. And the white does really look nice against the black. And okay, so that is all embossed. Now I'm going to go do my die cutting. So again, on this scrap piece of basic black, I'm going to cut out my apron, and I'm going to cut out these two little strips. They will be my apron ties. And then with this rectangle, I'm going to cut out what's going to be my pocket. Then on a scrap piece of foil, I'm going to cut out my scissors. Oh, and also on this scrap piece of black, I'm going to cut out the part of the top part of the apron that goes around the neck. Okay, so I'm going to go run this through my Big Shot, and I'll be right back with all my pieces. Okay, I'm back with all of my pieces, but I'm going to put them all aside because I do need to emboss on my apron. So I'm going to bring my Pierce mat and my scrap white paper back, excuse me, and using the stamp that says I love stamping from the bundle, I'm going to, with Versamark, stamp that right along the top here. First I'm going to use my Emboss Buddy because I want to make sure I get nice crisp letters. I love stamping, yes I do. Now again, I'm going to sprinkle that with some white embossing powder and shake that off. Okay, and now I'm going to heat emboss that. And this will go quick because my heat tool is already nice and warmed up. Alright, so now my apron is all stamped and embossed, so the last thing I need to do is attach all of the pieces to it. Now, I'm going to highly recommend, excuse me, a silicone pad, excuse me, as well as the fine tip glue gun, a glue bottle, because there are lots of tiny little things we need to attach. So the first thing I'm going to do is put 2 little dots of glue on the top, and then I'm going to lay the neck piece on. And I think I'm going to use my tweezers just to push that right into that glue. And then right up close to the top part here where it curves is where I'm going to attach my apron strings, and that is because the apron strings are kind of long and my card is horizontal, so I want to make sure that they don't stick out. So I'm going to attach one right there and kind of bring it close in. And then I'll attach this one as well on the other side and push that in. And there's our apron. Now what we need to do is just attach it to our card front. So I'm going to put it aside, and I'm going to put this together first. So with a little bit of snail, I'm going to mat my pieces, my designer series paper, onto the black. And there's a very, very thin border here. That's my new thing. I like thin borders, just enough to make it pop. And then using some black satin ribbon, I'm going to make a fake bow. And I'm going to cut a piece that is a little longer than the height of my card, and then a shorter piece. And I'm going to lay these down like a T, and then I'm just going to bring this in and tie. Now this does not look like much of a bow, or not even a nice knot, but once I tighten it up and I flip it over, I have a perfect knot. So now I'm going to attach that with some snail to my mat. Give that a nice, make sure it's nice and tight. And then come in and trim my tails. And now I'm going to attach that to my card base. Now normally, I know I usually do this the other way. I would have normally put the apron on, but because the apron has such tiny little pieces, the apron strings and whatnot, I wanted to not move that around too much, tipping it upside down to put adhesive on it. I mean, when I attach it, I didn't want to tip it upside down and put it on my card base, because I wanted that to, I'm going to treat it as gently as possible, shall we say. So now here, that's where it's going to go. So I'm going to take a little bit of snail, and then with my fine tip glue, again, I'm going to put a dot of fine tip glue just on the very end of this apron string, and right in the middle of the neck piece. And I do want to cover up, put the cover on my fine tip glue so that it doesn't dry up. And now I'm going to place my apron here. Give it a little press. Now I have to put my pocket on. And when I put my pocket on, I'm going to put snail on the two sides and the bottom, because I need to have an opening to put my scissors in. So I'm going to place that right there. I'm going to bring in my scissors, and again with my fine tip glue, this is really a godsend, this fine tip glue. I'm going to put a little bit of glue, dab dab, and then tuck my scissors in right here. And the tweezers make it also go so much easier as well. And that's our card. Now on the inside, I would put a piece of white paper with my note, thanking them for their order this month. So isn't that a nice little card? I love it. Now the Stampin' Up apron, the demonstrator aprons, right up here, instead of saying I love stamping, that's where Stampin' Up goes, the Stampin' Up logo, but it's a lot smaller. I think it looks better if it's as a pocket on the card, just to keep the dimensions proper. So that's that, and I hope you enjoyed this card. And again, this is the stamp of the month for February, and the link down in the description below will give you all the details on how you can get product to make 3 cards using this stamp set with the coordinating framelits for absolutely nothing. project. If you have any questions at all about this project or any of the products that I've used, please contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. And if you're at my blog, along the top there is a tab that says newsletter. I encourage you to click on that and subscribe to my newsletter. I send one out once a week, usually on Tuesday, and it has a recap of all the projects I've posted on YouTube, as well as information about any upcoming sales and promotions that Stampin' Up! Is offering. And it also has some information about programs that I have for my customers. I have a frequent buyer program, a refer a friend program, and I have all my class dates listed there. So I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter because it's full of information every week. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you back here Wednesday. Bye-bye.